You're listening to a 58 Ember production.
Howdy there, folks. Welcome to the Completely Fucking Clueless podcast. My name is Audrey Dean Flowers.
And my name is Sarah Alice Liddy, and we both use she, her pronouns.
And we are joined today by a very lovely guest, Torri Sunshine. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Torri Sunshine on the internet.
Slay.
I talk a lot about PCOS. I also just live my life. And
We love living your life.
on the internet, I share a lot about travel. My husband's a travel nurse, so we bounce around all the time. We move every 3 to 6 months, sometimes 9 months if we really like a place.
Okay.
So
Which places have you really liked?
Seattle,
Okay.
Santa Barbara, California.
I bet that was gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, the dream.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Oprah and Meghan and Harry live there.
They're like, it's gorge. Wait, so why Seattle though? Is Seattle rainy as it perceives to be?
It is.
Okay.
But I don't know. It has the mountains.
Okay.
And the city and city life. I don't know. I'm a city girl.
Yeah.
In my heart. Even though I grew up in a small town on the beach.
Where'd you grow up?
So Florida, don't judge me or hold it against me.
We don't judge. We do not judge.
That's funny.
And the weird part of Florida, not the cool part.
Oh, okay.
The panhandle, but it's beautiful there.
Okay.
I grew up on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So Panama City Beach, remember spring break used to be
Yes.
Yes.
Girls Gone Wild?
Mhm.
Yes.
So the whole month of March used to be we just would not go to class in high school, and we would just be tell everyone, oh yeah, we go to college, all the spring breakers. It was just a wild place to grow
Wait,
up.
that's so iconic.
So on a trip that I was meant to be on but didn't end up going on, there was Sarah and two of our other friends of spring break our sophomore year?
Sophomore
year, yeah. They did meet some guys who they not in Florida, but somewhere else,
Punta Cana.
who they thought were college kids and very much implied themselves to be other college kids who were high school kids.
Yeah, fully high school kids. They told us that they majored in construction.
And I was like, that was a number one giveaway. There's not a major called construction.
Okay, I'm so gullible. I fully believed it. I was like, wait, that's so cool. How do you major in construction? Yeah, it was very embarrassing, but.
So you're in Massachusetts currently, and I know you're in Cape Cod, which is not at all where I grew up. I'm way more north of you. But what do you think of Massachusetts?
Massachusetts is, I say it really wrong. I'm aware. So
It's hard to say Massachusetts. Is that how you say it?
Massachusetts.
It is a word where the more you say it, the more it becomes that sounds wrong. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Well,
Okay.
the people of TikTok have let me know. They're like, why does she say Massachusetts like that?
So it's not Massachusetts, it's Massachusetts.
Massachusetts?
But you can't really bite the chew. Here's the thing. People are never going to be happy with how you say it. Give up now is my advice.
Yeah, my husband was like, just say Mass. Stop
Yeah.
embarrassing me. Whenever we're out in public and I say Massachusetts, he's nudging me stop.
Do you want to know something horrible? If you asked me to spell Massachusetts right now, probably couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh,
Probably
really?
couldn't spell it. And I grew up there.
To be fair, it's a very long word.
It is.
And I'm bad at spelling.
Yeah.
I just write MA.
There you go. That's a lot to ask of a person to know how to spell Massachusetts.
No, 100%. But how are you liking
Okay,
it?
I am hearing it now. You do say Massachusetts.
Audrey's like, no.
But anyway, what do you think of MA?
I think MA is really cool, but it's a very buttoned up place. It's very proper. It's kind of similar to New York City in a way, but it's missing the chaotic energy.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
That's
It's a
actually,
lot calmer.
yeah. I'm assuming you've gone into Boston and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even Boston. Boston is a very suburban city.
100%. And that's what I love about it. My partner worked at Boston University for the first part of our relationship. And so I'd go to Boston a bunch and I kind of loved how different it was from New York.
Mm-hmm. I do think the buildings and history there is very rich and just beautiful and awe-striking.
Yeah.
And I do love, it's a city, and I'm living on Cape Cod right now in the winter and being oh my gosh, any chance we get to go to Boston, which we go probably once a week.
Nice.
Maybe once every 2 weeks. But Yeah, it's a beautiful place. And I'm very, very much enjoying it. It's just missing the little chaotic energy of New York City, but that's okay.
Totally.
I'm enjoying it for what it is.
Have you ever had a time where you were in New York?
Like doing
Yeah.
travel nursing? Not yet.
Okay.
But it's coming.
Ooh, that's very exciting.
Yeah, we're going to do New York City after we do, because we're about to sign a contract in the Boston area. And then after that, we're going to do New York.
Nice.
Amazing.
So cool.
That's very exciting. Okay, well, to get into our planned questions, I just had to get your thoughts on MA. I mean, I'm very biased, but I think it's a great place. Has a lot of problems because so does everywhere, but I love it. I highly recommend the seaside town of Marblehead. You're probably over seaside towns because you're in one in Cape Cod right now. But if you want to go to a different seaside town, that's my hometown.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
I also suggest Salem. I was going to say too. I love
Salem's
Salem.
the town next to me. It's where I was born.
It's actually looking like we might end up in Salem
Oh
rather
my God.
than Boston.
Oh my God. I'm jealous. I love Salem.
My brother and his husband live in Salem.
Great
yeah.
place.
You guys will have to come visit.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
No,
I love
it's literally
going
the
there.
town next to my town. So my town has like 3 exits, and one of them is through Salem.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
skip and a hop away.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amaze.
But anyway, so you were diagnosed with PCOS when you were in 7th grade. What was your journey like of being diagnosed?
So basically, whenever I started my period in 7th grade,
Mhm.
everyone was like starting their period then. And I didn't realize that I was the only one like on the bathroom floor, like in
Yeah.
so much pain, like having these horrific ones. And then once I did, my mom was like, I don't think this is normal. Maybe we should go to a doctor. So we went to a doctor and they did like an ultrasound and
Mhm.
they found cysts. And
Mm.
so they were like, oh, you have PCOS, like right then and there. And then the doctor was like, let's get started on birth control.
Oh my gosh. In 7th grade?
Yeah. And my mom was
Wow.
like, okay. And my dad was like, my 7th grader is going to be taking birth control. That seems like a little bit much, but we went ahead with it. Awful. I wish I would not have done that. Like, who knows what that did at like a young age to my
Right.
hormones and all of that. But so then after that, it didn't really do much. And also being that young, like, I don't think I was really like responsible enough to like take a pill
Yeah,
every
sure.
single day. So I don't think I was like taking it.
It's also kind of annoying of like you face like judgment if you're supposed to take it at the same time every day, which like you can be in different places at the same time and you face judgment for taking it. Like I had an alert that would go off on my phone and I had family members who would be like horrified by the fact that I was taking birth control in front of them. It's like, it's a medicine. I have to take it at the same day. Like, do you
Right.
want me to leave the room to go take my birth control? Like,
Like,
grow up.
comfortable. or
Yeah, like
something.
really, like I'm a full ass adult. Get over this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So after like I kind of stopped taking it for a couple of years, then I went again because my periods got so bad and went through the whole shebang again of seeing an endocrinologist. And I was like, maybe something's changed, in a couple of years. Maybe medicine has come around and there's like a better solution other than just taking birth control. Same song and dance. Here's birth control. Come back when you want to get pregnant. You're so young, because I was like 18 probably the next time.
Yeah.
And then again, like basically it just like went on like that, a cycle of going to see, your gynecologist and an endocrinologist and then all of that. And they all like metformin, birth control,
Yeah.
same thing. Come back when you want to get pregnant. And that is like basically every girl I know that's been diagnosed with PCOS, that's like their story too.
Mhm.
It's insane because so similar to you, a couple years ago, they had found a cyst on my ovary. And, I've always struggled with my weight. I had some other, like symptoms of PCOS, but I don't have that main symptom of irregular periods whatsoever. And so with me, my endocrinologist and my gynecologist are like not wanting to fully diagnose me with PCOS because it's like, oh, like you have everything else but this one thing. So it's like this weird, do I have it? Do I not have it? Like, what am I supposed to do about this? It's been the most interesting ride of my life.
Well, have you had a full testosterone panel worked on?
No. Oh my gosh, what is that?
So if you actually test my hormones,
Yeah.
even though I have like a substantial amount of facial hair, like if you look at my TikTok, I've very heavily documented that journey.
Yeah.
my hormones come back totally normal. Like the only reason I got diagnosed was because of the cyst on
Right.
my ovaries and because of the other symptoms that I have.
Wow.
So my testosterone overall is very much in the normal range. Like,
See, I have high testosterone.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so mine is like normal. But I did something called a like full testosterone panel, which and I saw all those endocrinologists. Not one of them asked to do that.
Mm.
And then finally I like saw someone who was more specialized in PCOS, and it was very expensive. I'm not gonna lie. Even someone who was diagnosed with PCOS, you would think that I would be able to get like the panel workup for like, I don't know, like the medically needed price. But no, I think it's like $1,000 per like panel.
Wow.
Shit.
So, but I got it done, and there's something called free range testosterone, and that means that's like basically, okay, this is gonna a little over my head. I had to get my husband he's a nurse.
Yeah.
Obviously. So I was like, doctor, explain that to him so he can explain it to me
Right.
in layman's terms. But basically, in your hormones, testosterone, there is something called free range testosterone. And basically, whenever you have these hormones in your body, they typically bind to proteins in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, if you have PCOS, they aren't binding to proteins like they should, and they're just running free range in your bloodstream and causing all of those issues. So for me, my free range testosterone is what's high. But overall, like your body is amazing, right?
Yeah.
And your body will like correct itself just like mine has in making my overall testosterone normal if you run just a regular panel, which is what 90% of doctors will do unless either you ask for it or you have a endocrinologist that's specialized. So
what a journey. I think something that about your journey that like touched me was like you got diagnosed when you were so young in 7th grade. What was that like for you to experience that at such a young age, and did it affect your, middle school and high school experience?
Yeah, so whenever I was young, like in middle school, not so much other than like maybe missing out on things whenever I just wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like the physical appearance, like whenever I was gaining weight and my friends weren't, and the facial hair was showing up, like that is whenever it really got to me. And that started more so in high school. And so after I noticed like those changes, that's whenever it really like weighed on my like psyche and my self-esteem and all of that.
High schoolers are fucking mean.
Yeah. And luckily, like no one ever made it a big deal, but to me it was a big deal.
Right. Yeah. Because we all have like things about ourselves that we feel certain ways about, and it can be hard to, get over that, especially at such a young age when these things are like starting to happen.
Are there any like big misconceptions that you wish that you could clear up that like people have about experiencing PCOS?
Well, I think in general, like beyond PCOS, like women grow facial hair even like without PCOS.
Yeah.
And I wish that was just like a thing. So I wish that I could take that away from women, like take away the shame of like, okay, you need to go run to the store and not feel like you have to like cover it up or like wear something that's going to make it not as noticeable just so you could go run an errand,
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I wish that it would be like, oh, this girl has attached earlobes. Oh, this girl has facial hair. Like, maybe I have it. I don't don it. I don't like it. But, like, I could go run to the store and go grab something and not have to worry about it. Or maybe there was a day I just didn't feel like wearing makeup out in public. And, now I'm to that point. But there was years where I wasn't. And I know so many other women who have to carry that around. And I just wish that I could take that away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, it sounds like my early experiences with acne, in that same way where you just like want to cover it up, or you don't even like want to go literally to the grocery store without like something on your face and to give you that like protective shield. So I totally get that. No, please don't worry about it. I totally understand that. I feel like that's really hard.
It's hard when like it's your face because like you just like you can't not show it.
Yeah, it's not like you can put a shirt on or something.
No, there's nothing you can do to hide your face.
Yeah.
How did you learn to kind of let go of the self-consciousness that you had around your facial hair?
It was more so like over time. And
Yeah.
I think like with age and becoming more confident in like who I am
Yeah.
and like knowing who I am more than anything else and being comfortable there and letting like the rest fall away. So I just knew that on social media, I needed to do this. Like, it wasn't even like a conscious thing. Like, I wanted to like come on and share this journey. It was like out of necessity that this like kind of happened. I never like set out to even like share this.
Yeah.
And that way it just like someone noticed it in one of my Get Ready With Me videos.
Mhm.
And it happened to have like a lot of comments. I think I had like 15,000 followers at the time or something. And then so many women were like, oh my gosh, I have this too. I have this too. And I just like knew I had to. Like there was like I was like, I need to talk about this because I just like saw and remembered like myself in so many of the comments.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to do this. Like and I just thought if I were 15 and could have seen this, like it would have made the biggest difference in my life. And so I have to.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I totally get that. I feel like that's like one of the good things about social media, and with people sharing different journeys with like body image and just like other things about bodies and like trying to
Or even like sexuality.
yeah, and promote like positivity and acceptance around it. I think that is such an amazing thing because like you said, when you're young and you're not seeing that representation out there, you're like, oh.
And it can feel really lonely and isolating, and to like find out that you're not the only one with something, like, it's really comforting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have so many comments that were like, I thought I was the only one. Like,
Yeah.
So, and I can't believe that there's so many women out there that feel that way. Just makes me sad. And so I just want that not to be the case. I want it to be like more of a well-known thing. I'm not saying that people should do whatever they want, but I'm not saying that they need to be out there like wearing their facial hair proudly, but I'm just saying it should be like a recognized thing that's like a bodily thing that people have and do, and it's not.
Because there are already so many layers of that existing with women of like, if you show up to work without makeup on and like hair done, you look like unprofessional, whatever. Like,
I'm like, oh, are you tired?
Exactly. Like there's just like so many layers of it, like already to like have additional layers is exhausting.
Yeah.
Literally. And over the years, how have you learned to manage your PCOS?
So, I mean, we talked about the song and dance with the doctor.
With the doctors.
Yeah. So, PCOS is a chronic illness.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you have to look at it that way. And a lot of things, I think growing up in like whenever you learn about medical and like getting sick, you think like, oh, okay, I take a pill and then I'm better.
Right.
Like sinus infection or something. You take an antibiotic and then you're better. And if you have a chronic illness, that's not how that works. And so I think first of all, we need to like learn that earlier on, because that's just an expectation that everyone like grows up with. You're like, okay, I'm going to the doctor, they're going to fix this. No, that's a chronic illness. It needs to be looked at holistically.
I love that.
Our medical system is not really set up to do anything holistically or like preventative long-term like care. Like our health system's bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My husband is like, gosh, this really sucks.
I think especially with the preventativeness of like PCOS. And I mean, I feel like I never knew what it was until, one day they find a cyst on my ovary and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, like what is happening to me? Will I ever be able to get pregnant? Like all these things, So I agree with like talking about it more and like talking about it in like the expansion of it's like a thing that will be with you forever.
Yeah. And so it's really about managing it. And what I've done is really looked at like my sleep patterns, looked at the way that I eat and like the exercise and like, because food is medicine. And I hate that as someone who loves croissants and pasta and like Nutella and like all the things.
I love Nutella. I've been on a Nutella kick lately.
Nutella and strawberries.
Yeah.
For my birthday, that's what I ask for every year. Like not a cake.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
But like, so I really have had to get that in check and like learn how to eat for PCOS. And that makes difference. Unfortunately, I hate that. But
What are some of like food recommendations or things that you do?
so starting your day with 30 grams of protein, and 30 grams of protein at every meal, but the most important is every morning, 30 grams of protein. Also, obviously eating like whole, real foods.
Sure.
Nothing processed. I have a couple of like breakfasts that are like really big go-tos. I have like a playlist on my
Yes, I've watched it.
yeah.
Part of the research we do is we like stalk someone's entire social media, so they'll reference it and it'll be like, yeah, I know that thing that was like 3 years ago.
Well, yeah. So I love all of those things that I've put together because I'm not necessarily like a cook. So it's more putting
Me
ingredients
either.
together. That's what
I like cooking, but like
either.
cooking like a full whatever meal, like every single day for every meal, that's a lot.
Yeah, and I kept seeing, I was like, how am I supposed to eat for PCOS? And I would find them, and they're like, oh, this intricate, like beautifully like cut.
The avocados are slimy.
My meals are never pretty. They
No.
taste good. Never pretty.
I'm like, how am I supposed to do that every single day for every meal and like eat for my PCOS? That is so unattainable. So I just was like, how can I dumb this down?
Yeah.
And like make this something where it is realistic for me and then would be realistic for other women.
Yeah. Can you share one of like the things that you do that is like realistic for you food wise?
Yeah. So, okay. My favorite breakfast is unsweetened Greek yogurt.
Okay.
A cup of that, some chia seeds, 2 spoonfuls of natural peanut butter.
Okay.
And then a handful or like 2 handfuls of blueberries and strawberries and mix it up.
Nice.
Berries are so good. Whenever I go home and I see my niece and my nephew and they're just pounding through raspberries, I'm like, you little bitches don't understand how lucky you are. Berries are expensive, you little fucks. I obviously don't say this to them. They're 9 and 11. But I think it.
You think it in the head.
I think it.
That's a really good piece of advice because I recently went to the endocrinologist and I really struggle with my like sugar cravings. It is like the hardest thing for me ever. And she was talking about needing to eat like 100 grams of protein a day. And I was like, oh my God, how do I even begin to broach that? Like what? Like that's insane.
Yeah. So honestly, I would look at it in meals. I would do like 30 grams per meal and like, make that a target. And then like in your snacks in between, just make sure that you're getting a little bit of protein in there.
Yeah.
Boom, you're at your 100%. You know?
It's like, it really is. I think talking with you right now is making me realize like it really is this like long-term thing that you kind of have to like learn to live with and learn to like build your habits around. Like, did it take you a while to sort of get this like lifestyle that you're living like into practice?
Oh yeah. And I kind of went kicking and screaming into it, you know? Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, and first of all, I hate being told what to do. I'm a Taurus. Don't tell me. I don't have to do that. I don't have to follow your rules. But yeah, it took me a really long time. And then I realized like, you implement one thing and you're like, wow, I really do feel a lot better. There's something to that. So then you implement another and then just realize, okay, I should be living like this and life is just better this way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put my energy that I was focusing into like the maybe not so great for me habits into those, and I feel better, and that like emanates through your life.
Ooh, this is hidden. This is very different, not chronic PCOS at all. But I struggle a lot with chronic depression. And there are things that make it easier to manage and you feel better, but just doing them and I think it's really easy to like start taking them for granted. Of like, oh, I'm feeling better. Like I can sort of slip up on like the routines and whatever. And then you start feeling worse. And it's like, oh, right. The routines were what kept me feeling better. But it can get really frustrating having it to be like, so like kind of perfect with your life. And like, it feels like when you slip up, like it sets you back so far. How do you like manage needing to be this thoughtful about everything all the time?
Well, I really just take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
And if I do like not hit my protein goal or whatever, like I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Cause I also know that like it's a balance and I want to live my life. I want to have fun. If I want to eat pizza one day, I'm eating pizza one day. If there's one day that I want like a croissant for breakfast, I will have a croissant for breakfast. I just don't make it like an everyday thing. And more often than not, I am eating and like doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
And just everything in moderation,
Yeah.
which I know is like annoying.
So hard.
Literally, it is. I think it's like hard when you've been like eating in a specific way for a while and then, having to adjust that because the food is the medicine and makes you feel better. And I'm like, kind of like you said, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. I just want my Nutella and pretzels and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely tough. And, something that we touched on a little bit, but I'm interested to hear more about is, doctors can be very frustrating. And how have you handled that over the years?
So that is like, before I go to the doctor, I'm just like, manage your expectations and just take it with a grain of salt because you don't think that you're going to go in there and they're going to like solve this problem for you or put this much pressure on this appointment. Like you're going to go like hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
And just take it like that rather than, okay, I'm going to the doctor and like, this is it. Like he's going to give me this thing that's going to fix me. Like that's just not what's going to happen.
Right.
So just looking at it that way instead of like, whereas we grow up thinking we go to the doctor and they fix it, like just changing your mindset about that.
Yeah.
And managing the expectation around it, I think is everything. Because I used to leave the doctors crying, like thinking like, oh my gosh, like no hope, no answers, like whatever. Like just don't go in thinking you're going to get an answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You like bring so much positivity to everything you do. And so sort of like broaching off of that, like going to doctors and not getting answers and like kind of being told like, hey, there's not an answer. This is just about managing this. How do you manage to like still stay really positive and like focused on finding the joy through all of that?
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you really are so positive about this. Like I am like thinking about myself and I kind of have some of the same experiences of being like, man, kicking and screaming. Like,
well, so it's just to the core of like who I am. Like that's just never too far away from me. Like, and I'm someone who has struggled with depression like my whole life.
Yeah.
And even though I have been like super depressed, still like my positivity is still like just never that far away from me because it's just to the core of like who I am. I can't help it.
Yeah.
So it's not even a conscious thing. I wish that there was like something I could like actionably tell you guys, to like.
No, that's okay.
But that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it really is that it's like a part of you. And I wanted to ask this at the beginning, but now like bringing it back, is that where you kind of get your name like on social media, Torri Sunshine? I was like, is the sunshine the positivity?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, that's beautiful.
That is. Speaking of like social media, what have been sort of like the highs and lows of sharing your experience?
So the highs definitely has been the community and helping women. That like first and foremost is what it's about for me.
Sure.
Is like seeing them in the comments and seeing them like help each other and just be uplifted by seeing themselves and seeing their issues like personified online and feeling like they're not alone.
Yeah.
So that is definitely my high and my reason.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know was going to be my reason. I just thought I was sharing my like travel life and like I love clothes, So I thought that like that's what I was doing on there. And then no, I wasn't. I was going to be talking about PCOS.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so great that you share it because truly I feel like there isn't much talk about it. I mean, sure you can find things on TikTok, but I think to watch somebody's like journey through it is like really, really cool and definitely gives hope and is like, all right, like, like you said, day by day, I can figure this out.
Yeah. And I also always want to continue to share like my travels and my clothes and like other stuff.
Yeah. Sure.
Because I don't want girls to ever feel like, oh, I have PCOS and this is like all that I am.
Sure.
Like the only thing that defines me. Because for a while, it can feel like that.
Whenever
it gets really bad or you're in like a bad season of it and you aren't like managing it, it can feel like this is the whole like big soul thing about you. And I never want to like send that message. So I think it's so important that I share like all aspects of my life, which is what I try to do.
Yeah. Love that.
Lovely. So, very much changing subjects. We spoke about it very briefly in the beginning, but your husband is a travel nurse, meaning you move every 3 to 6 months or so. And so you've been doing that for about 6 years, I think?
Actually, it's like 3.5.
Well,
Okay.
ignore me then.
6.
Whoops.
Half.
I don't know why I wrote 6 then.
No, it's fine. It'll probably be 6 by the time we're done doing this.
I was just
You're like-
seeing into the future, actually.
Exactly.
I am a fortune teller.
I think ability is kicking in.
But so you've been doing that for a decent chunk of like your early 30s now. And what is that like with having to like move so much? Like it must be really hard to like put down roots.
Yeah, well, there is really no putting down.
Yeah.
roots.
Right.
It does kind of feel like that whenever you're there for 9 months. The longer you are a place, the harder it is to leave.
I bet.
Yeah, and I am like a people person, and so my job is to always like find us the friends.
Mhm.
And so
How do you make friends? I
Yeah,
really
I wouldn't even know where to start.
really social media.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I have to like, see they're a real person who's like,
Right.
I've
like,
made,
we're not getting
one
like catfish.
friend since moving here like 2.5 years ago. I've managed to make one friend.
hey, you got to
We knew each
We
other
knew each other in
already.
college.
Yeah.
like doesn't count.
No. You don't count, Sarah.
Yeah, so really it's social media.
Yeah.
Because, like, and also Matt has, I'll always ask him at the hospital, I'll be like, Matt, is there anyone you saw that you think that I would like there? Or that we would be friends with?
Yeah.
And he's always like, no, that's weird. What do you want me to be like, hey, can I get your number? Like, because typically they're girls. And I'm like, okay, yeah. But then he has only one time found us a friend. He's like, well, there is this guy, and which is a rarity to find like a male travel nurse.
Okay.
And then he's like, and he actually does have a wife. And I'm like, because that never happens either.
Mhm.
Because typically it's like single, like mid 20, late 20 girls who are like travel nurses.
Okay.
And then, but he was like, but he's married. And I'm like, wow. And then he was like, and she isn't a nurse as well. And I'm like, oh my gosh, unicorn, you have to get their number. So I like make him like ask for the number.
Yeah.
And so it either works out one of two ways. It's either something like that
Yeah.
at the hospital, or I like find them on social media and like vet them. Actually, my social media manager right here.
Yeah.
I met her in Seattle.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And what exactly does like being a travel nurse entail?
Yeah.
So basically you go from you sign a contract. And
Okay.
then you go from like hospital to hospital per contract for, and they typically last 3 months.
Okay.
That's like you sign on for 3 months and you can extend up to 9 months. And we've never ever had a situation where we weren't able to extend. Like they always, if anything, want you to extend longer rather than like cut a contract short or something. I've heard that can happen, but it hasn't, knock on wood, has never happened to us. So yeah, you walk into the hospital, basically orient for like 3 days, orientation, and then you're like on the floor to go. I mean, I don't have to deal with that part of it.
Right. You're like, I just get to sit back.
I know. I got the sweet end of the gig for sure.
Yeah.
Matt's always like, must be nice to make videos. I'm gonna go like I'm gonna go like clean up some throw up and like
Ooh,
give people some life-saving meds, but have fun.
that is so crazy. This is like, it's such a cool, I bet, experience to get to, travel around.
Yeah, it's really cool. As soon as I found out that it existed.
Yeah.
Because before this, my husband was a parasail captain when we were dating.
Oh,
Big shift.
Yeah. Okay. You're telling me. We were dating. I used to be in the beer industry, actually. I worked for Anheuser-Busch for a long time.
okay, cool.
And I thought he was just going to be a parasail captain like his whole life. Like, that's what I thought we were doing. And then he comes home from work one day and is like, I want to go to nursing school. And I was like, what? Where is this coming from? Never heard you say that. And then he became a nurse, and then we found out about travel nursing, and I was like, we obviously have to do that.
Yeah.
So we've been doing it. We plan to do it for a couple more years.
Okay.
And then kind of settle down after that. It's going to be hard to stop, though, because it's such a fun life. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. There's some downsides. Like,
Sure.
it's really hard to find places to live. Like, that's
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. Like, do you guys like Airbnb and stuff like that?
So we've done Airbnb.
Okay.
But typically with the fees, they make it like kind of outrageous.
Okay.
So what we more so do, there's an app called Furnish Finder, and it's for travel nurses specifically.
Oh.
Yeah, so we typically use Furnish Finder.
Wow. How many places have you guys traveled to?
Oh God. I think like maybe 6.
Okay, cool.
Haven't counted, but maybe 6 or 7.
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
No, that's so cool. I feel like it would be like that is something that I wanted to do in college. Like, so we went to school for music theater, and something that I was like, oh my gosh, if I could do this one thing was be like on a tour, a national tour, because kind of similarly to your situation, it's like you are in those like the different states in the US for like a couple weeks and you just like get to travel around for free. And I'm like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's super cool. My favorite part about it is like being in a place and then I'm like, okay, where around do I have to go? And then we like make it a point to go to like all the notable cities and around to go explore.
That's so fun. That's like one of my favorite things is like looking up places and like trying to find restaurants and all that stuff.
I love doing that.
I bet. And I bet that's like amazing, fun content for you to make too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How did you get into like social media in general?
So I was doing like Instagram, you know, like all the Instagram girlies back in the day.
Yes. So get those photos.
The outfits.
Yes.
You know, and the Tezza and like lugging around the big camera and like that since like 2016.
Wow.
So like a long time.
Yeah.
And then when TikTok started, obviously I like downloaded the app.
Sure.
And started kind of posting on there. And then I just kind of gravitated more towards that like videos rather than just photos, even though
you can do more. Like, photos are a lot more static.
Yeah, and you don't really get like a vibe of a person.
Yes, that's why I hate dating apps.
Oh yeah, I miss the whole like dating app. Like me and my husband got together right before, like a month later.
I love that for you.
Wow, what dating advice would you give since like you really found him in like the no dating app sense?
Yeah. Okay, I have so much dating advice.
Oh my gosh, please share.
Yeah, I need help.
Okay. First of all, I think guys will treat you like, or I mean, not just guys.
Sure.
Like relationship people will treat you how you let them. So like, don't let someone treat you badly. Like you have to like kind of teach people how
you want to be. Yeah, sure. Put the boundaries down.
Exactly. Also, like, don't put like if you see a red flag, don't ignore that. Like that is, and if you're like, oh, okay, I like them, but there's like this, and this thing. No, like that right there is your answer.
Right. I feel like that's so hard for people to get over is like the red flag thing.
Yeah.
And excusing like, people's actions.
The saying that I hear a lot that I really like, but is so hard is like when someone tells you who they are, believe them the first time.
Exactly. And there's a lot of girls that I hear in their 20s that are, and I remember this too, is they would be like, oh, but you know, it's fine. I'm just going to excuse this thing. Like I haven't been on dates in a while, or like I saw this in his dating profile that I didn't really like, but I'm still going to go. And I'm like, no, like why? To waste your time? Like, what's the purpose of that? Like, don't do that. If it's not everything, then it should be nothing to you. And also, if you're in like a situationship, like, no, you're not. You're in nothing. Like, that is nothing. And that's not going to like, oh, get better. And like that story that you heard about like your friend's friend who like it eventually like worked out for them. No, like that is not you. And that's not going to happen. Like you need to, if it's not like everything and it's not a yes, then it should be like an absolutely not.
Yeah. And I thinking about like the situationships that I've been in and like how I wish I could have like just said to myself, like, girl, like it's a no. Like,
I've been in so many that like never even reached the point of situationships. It was just like so much texting and talking and then nothing ever coming of it. But like talking every day endlessly for months on end and then nothing ever happens. I can't even reach the situation point.
See, well, you know, if they're not like begging to take you out on a date within the first like week and a half, bye.
Yeah, literally.
I would say that's something with me on dating apps is like, I don't want to talk forever on the dating app. I'd rather like us like briefly chat and then like, let's go meet, because you can't get a vibe via dating app. You can't get a vibe via texting. Like I want to see whether or not we actually like have any sort of vibe, connection, whatever. And then we know yes or no, instead of like having endless weeks of small talk where I have to scroll back and be like, who are you again? Right. You're the one with the dog that likes polka dots. Sure.
No, yeah. I had a friend recently in a situation where, you know, like somebody, you know, we were going back and forth trying to like make plans and she just wasn't being responsive. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if she was really interested and like things were going to work out here, like she would like be more responsive to this. Because I felt like when I met my partner, and look, we have a history before we like met again in life, you know, they were like persistent. And I was like, damn, like this is attractive when somebody is like, you know, really trying to pursue you.
If they wanted to, they would.
Period. Per. How did you meet your husband?
This is funny. So y'all remember in college, like how there's always that like cheap like dive bar that everyone
Yes.
like the college bar.
Yeah.
So we had one in our college town called Mugs and Jugs.
That's an amazing
Iconic.
name.
Yeah,
So good.
$1 beer night. Now they've since raised the price.
Of course.
To, like $2 beer night. But at the time it was $1 beer night. Yeah. So we met there.
Oh, great. And so you guys then went to the same school, I'm assuming?
Mhm.
Okay. Where'd you go to school?
University of West Florida. It's
Amazing.
Mid-sized, small.
Love it.
Yeah, I cheered in college. I was a
Oh my God. That's so cool.
That was one thing that I was sad to have never experienced. I went to an arts high school, so we didn't even have sports teams, much less cheerleading. But that was like one, like, I feel like really quintessential thing that I was like, I think I'd be great at that. And that sounds so fun. I don't know if it actually is, but
It is. It is. Hey, it's not too late. You could go to an open gym, do some cartwheels. You know, I'm sure there's.
here's the thing. I'm
bet
now
there
like
is.
so fearful. Like I know if I wanted to do a cartwheel, I could do a cartwheel, but I'm now so afraid for bodily harm that I cannot convince myself to do a cartwheel.
I honestly feel like same. Like
Yeah.
it has been years.
It's been too long now, and I'm afraid. I don't want to hurt
What
myself.
is that like goes out the window? Like, you know, you have this like fear.
You become aware of like, oh, my body can break.
Yeah.
Like I watch my niece and my nephew run around, and like when you're young, like you can heal a lot quicker. Like
Sure.
I'm now at the point where like when I sprained my ankle and it still hurts over a year later after doing a bunch of PT. Like when I injure myself now, that's sticking
You're like, there's consequences
to my action.
Literally, I was at the bar like a couple months ago and it was like a karaoke night and everybody gets up on stage and somebody like spins me out and I sprain my ankle. I'm like, oh, guys, this is being like old.
I am breakable. I am ancient.
Oh my
I
God.
am a little teapot in the china shop. Please don't break me.
But speaking of age and like this podcast, you know, is very like 20 centric and, you know, you are in your 30s now. Looking back on your 20s, is there something that you maybe wish you had done differently? Something that, you know, you're like, oh, I wish I would have told myself that, like looking back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not someone who has like a ton of regrets or
Mhm.
anything like that.
Yeah.
But I will say there's a lot of my 20s where I was like, oh, you have time. Like, I want to do this, this, and this, but I'll do that eventually. I have time. And I wish I could go back and like slap myself and be like, biatch, this is the time. Like, this is when you should be trying it. And like, I wait. And I did eventually get there.
Yeah.
And, like, try and like do all the things and plant those seeds. But I just wish I would have started them earlier when I like had thought of it rather than waiting later and later to like start like
Yeah.
what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Is there anything you're really glad that you did in your
Mm.
20s?
I mean, I'm glad that I experienced and said yes to any and everything that I could.
Yeah.
So I would say just say yes. And like, even if you're tired and you don't feel like doing the thing or like there's an opportunity that you're like unsure of, like just say yes and just, it's your say yes to everything years.
Yeah.
Mm.
So say yes to everything and like just do it all, even if it's something that you're like maybe not sure of. Like,
Yeah.
just do it.
Did you have any times in your 20s where you felt like really uncertain and how did you work yourself through that?
Yeah, I feel like your 20s are all about uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like the years, I mean, they're such unfair years because it's like, figure out what you want to do, find your partner, like where do you want to live? Like there's so much pressure on those years. And that stuff will figure itself out. Like you don't need to like be so worried about that.
Mm.
Like as you age and live your life and like make your choices that come with like just genuinely living and like putting one foot in front of the other, that stuff will come and like work its own way out. Like that's nothing that should keep you up at night.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, because that's, I feel like, what keeps 20-somethings up at night.
I remember I was there too. So like I remember feeling that way too.
Yeah, yeah. And now being in your 30s, like what do you feel like are the differences between Torri in her 20s and Torri in her 30s?
I think there was a lot of me that was aimless back then, and I had all these things I wanted to do, but I just would be like, I have time. So I think now I'm much more focused. I'm much more confident, and I'm someone who've always known had like a big sense of self and like never really struggled with that. So I don't know. It's just been more so being more confident in my abilities rather than confident in myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are you excited for in your 30s?
I'm excited. I know that like this travel life is so fun. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it, but I am excited to like decorate a space and
Yeah.
like put roots down and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, more of like a sedentary life one day.
Yeah.
I-
Where would you move if you could put your roots down?
Gosh, so me and my husband go back and forth about this a lot, but I think we're going to buy a place in Seattle but live in Santa Barbara
Okay.
Cool.
and just like rent out the place in Seattle but live in Cal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever looked at the places in Santa Barbara, but oh my gosh, like real estate in California, well, real estate everywhere, but
Yeah.
especially in California is crazy. So I
Yeah.
think we'll like kind of go back and
Go.
forth
Yeah.
between those two places.
Cool.
Very fun.
Cool.
I had a question. I've very much lost it.
I love that for you. Anyways,
Smooth brain.
speaking of 20s and being clueless, can you share a recent time with us where you felt clueless?
It can be big, small, whatever your heart desires.
Yes. So global entry.
What? Okay, what the heck is global entry? I heard about this on the
Global
toast.
entry is great.
It is.
What is it?
Oh my God. Mine's actually currently expired, but I've had global entry for years.
Oh, is it like TSA pre-check?
Yeah, but it's like steps above that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you can like whenever you're coming back or whenever you're leaving the country, like you don't have to empty your stuff out of your suitcase.
Oh, okay,
line.
okay.
Yeah. So I've been trying to figure it out for like the longest time, and it's just since my husband and I move so much, like
Right.
they need and they're very strict about it. Like it has to be exactly perfect. So you sit for an interview to get it.
Oh.
You like have to go to the airport to do an interview. I remember my whole family, like we had to go through security and like do an interview at the airport. We went to the airport. We weren't flying anywhere. We
Yeah.
just went and interviewed and then had to go back through security.
Don't you have to do the same thing for like TSA pre-check? You have to like go to the airport and stuff like that?
TSA pre-check's a bit easier.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you have to sit for like an actual interview.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
What are they going to ask you?
I don't know, but you have to bring like all these
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
and you have to like they need your like address to match like all of these like things, and it's just like near impossible right now with
Yeah.
You know, your traveling lifestyle.
yeah. So it's so frustrating, and I travel so much, like I need it.
Right.
I really need it. Like,
Right.
An aspect I hadn't thought about of with like bills and everything with like credit cards or whatnot, statements where you like have like a home billing address, like your billing address is changing so much. Like
Yeah.
I imagine you all the time are having issues with the mail being sent to the wrong place.
Oh yeah, especially like influencers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, dang, maybe somebody's getting your PR packages.
No, they are sometimes, and I'm like, damn.
Oh no.
And most of the time we have like a really good relationship with our like landlord.
Sure.
They're like, hey, can you send that? I'll like pay for you to send that. And I'm like, sucks, but whatever. But sometimes, most of the time I'm good about being like, hey, I moved. I need to like, this is my new address.
Yeah.
Because I've learned, by being put in that situation. So
I still haven't. I have multiple credit cards that have the wrong name on them. And that's been like 4 years and I still haven't updated it. I'm so impressed that you're on top of it enough to whatever. Because again, my credit card has the wrong name on it and I just haven't fixed it. I just haven't fixed it.
no, I mean, I also haven't changed my name since I've been married. So
I'm not married. I just changed my name for the lols.
Oh, yes.
So what was your, if you don't mind me asking?
Olivia.
Oh yeah, and you weren't
Didn't vibe with it.
The vibe.
Wasn't the vibe.
I only have known her as Audrey because
Yeah.
we met our freshman year of college. We were
I
in the
changed
same
it a
music
while
theater
ago.
class.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you changed it?
I started going by it in 2017, legally changed it 2019 maybe.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. You got to name yourself.
Yeah. Full send, baby.
Yeah, you said I'm reclaiming myself.
I knew I wanted to change it since I was a kid. My family's just glad that I didn't pick the name that I wanted to pick when I was a kid, which was Crystal. I wanted to be Crystal Flowers, spelled with a K also. Crystal with a K. And it's like, that is an incredibly just stripper name. That is a stripper name, you dumb little bitch.
That's
my
cute.
goodness.
You should name like a cat Crystal. Like if you get like a cat or something.
You should. That's such a cute idea. Your first dog should be named Crystal.
Crystal with a K.
I give them all of my rejected names.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
But yeah, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Tori, can you share
Yeah.
where people can find you?
Yeah. So I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and I do have a YouTube channel. I've been thinking about bringing that back.
Slay.
Yeah, and also my name is spelled Torri.
Mm-hmm.
So I know there's lots of different variants of Torris.
Oh, Toorr. Wait,
No.
Torri. Okay,
Yes.
I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure it was the double R.
Ooh.
I was like, I've never heard it spelled like that before. And you guys know that you can find us on Instagram at Completely Fucking Clueless.
And on TikTok and YouTube at completely FCK ING Clueless.
Thank you so much, Tori, for coming and doing this. This was so fun.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank
You really are a little sunshine.
Aw, that was cute. Bye, guys.
Bye. Kisses from mommy.
This has been a 58 Ember production. For more shows, please visit the 58 Ember channel, 58ember.com, or find us at 58 Ember Media on socials.